Hello crafty friends, Laura here. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing some of my DIY hot chocolate bomb recipes, I guess, or how I put these together and the different flavors that I'm using. You may have seen my video from last year where I attempted this for the first time and had a little bit of a struggle getting the chocolate out of the molds, and I'll explain in this video how to avoid that and also some different flavor combinations. So you want to make sure you're using chocolate that contains cocoa butter. That will really help in terms of getting everything out of the mold. Last year I used hard plastic like baubles, decorative baubles. I did upgrade this year to a silicone mold. It wasn't too expensive and I'll have it linked in the description below, and it's definitely easier. You also want to make sure with your chocolate you don't lose your temper. I don't mean getting mad. I mean how you melt your chocolate. I'll have a link below to somebody that actually knows what they're talking about in terms of this subject, but from what I've gleaned from my research and what I'll pass on to you here is that it definitely helps if you use a microwave safe bowl and you microwave your chocolate after chopping it in short bursts. We're talking 30 seconds for the first couple goes, and then drop it right down to 15, 10, 5, and you want to stop before it's completely melted. You also want to give it a mix, kind of in between each of those bursts. If your microwave is a little bit more powerful than mine, you might want to start at 15, but that was what worked for me, and it worked for all of these recipes. And you can also add in a little bit more of the chocolate, the unmelted chocolate, to your melted mix, and that will help to spread the tempering crystal magic joy throughout your chocolate that will help it come out the molds. As I say, I have a link below to somebody that explains this in more scientific terms, but essentially don't let your chocolate get too hot. I also found a plastic bowl was really great because it doesn't hold the heat like a glass bowl would. So this is just basic white chocolate. I've filled up my mold and then I'm going to tip away the excess. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. These white chocolate, hot chocolates were not very nice. Don't worry, we've got some different recipes coming up, but if I were to make these again for the third time, then I would add some actual cocoa powder to these. I didn't want to do that at first because I wanted them to stay really nice and white, but genius, you can totally add this once they're dry. So you'll see I've tipped away the excess and let these harden, and I'm just going to pop them out and just look how satisfying this is. Look how easy they come out. So I'm just kind of pulling the silicone mold away from the edge of the chocolate and boom, they just come out so clean, so perfect. No struggles. Definitely recommend melting your chocolate in the correct way. Don't just go full steam ahead like I did in the last video and let it get too hot. And also a silicone mold is going to be a little bit easier because it's got some flexibility to help you pop everything out. These came out pretty much unscathed. I had a couple pieces kind of chip away, but nothing major. Now at this point, I wish I'd added a couple scoops of hot chocolate powder inside the ball. Do that if you make these. Do as I say, not as I did. Learn from my experience. Now I have this adorable snowman face marshmallow topper, and I kind of smushed him inside of the ball. He's so cute. I just thought it'd be really fun to be able to melt this and have this snowman kind of pop out. Of course, you have a little bit of a risk that he may be facing the wrong way. But you know, it's a 50-50 shot, or you could just decorate the top so you know which way is up of your marshmallow, of your hot chocolate bomb. I took a piping bag and some more melted chocolate, and I'm using that to seal the edges. And I go ahead and just fill in the little crack there and then wipe away any of the excess. I will show in a later video, later in this video, how to seal these cocoa bombs without using a piping bag. So I'm going to fill up each of these white ones just using a variety of marshmallows. I had this little snowman marshmallow. I thought he would be kind of cute. So when this cracks and opens up inside of your drink, you have this little snowman guy float to the top. So at this point, I'm going to speed the video up. It's pretty much the same steps, just changing out the fillings that I'm using. Sorry if you can hear those tippy tappies. That is my dog walking in while I'm doing this voiceover. He says hello. You can give a shout out to Dexter in the comments if you so wish. He enjoys reading them. Anyway, I'm filling these up with a variety of different mini marshmallows and marshmallow toppers and adding in some iridescent glitter. You couldn't really see this, in my opinion. It was a bit of an experiment to see if you could notice it. I found that you couldn't if it was on the inside, but obviously if you put it on the outside as a decoration, it looks really pretty. So for this one, I really wanted to maximize the number of marshmallows. Notice I'm using all white marshmallows for these. And so I put a little bit of chocolate inside to kind of stick some marshmallows down so they wouldn't all spill out as I kind of try and push these two halves together. So jumping into a little bit of decoration here, I'm just taking that piping bag and squeezing some of the melted chocolate over the top of this. It kind of looks like almost like a truffle. You see truffles like this with the chocolate just kind of, I don't know the technical term, just splodge some chocolate on the top. It looks good. I also added some more of the edible glitter and called it a day for this one. I also tried to pipe a snowflake. I don't know what went wrong. My art skills failed me, but here we go. It's supposed to be a snowflake. Don't judge me. So I feel like you have the basic concept now of how these are made. Melt some chocolate, stick it in a mold. I'm going to move into some additional flavors, but this is what they look like. And as I say, I'll crack them at the end of the video. So for this one, I used Terry's Chocolate Orange. This is a delicious chocolate with, as the name suggests, an orange flavor, and I thought that would make really nice hot chocolate. So I melted this, and because I wasn't concerned about the coloring, I add some cocoa powder in there, and that really makes a difference to making this taste deliciously cocoa-y. So I would definitely recommend either adding the powder to the melted chocolate or add a scoop to the inside of your chocolate ball. So I'm doing the same thing here. Once the mold is filled up, I'm just resting it on some spoons over a bowl so it can drip out, and then I'm leaving it to harden. Now, I don't know why the lighting's changed. I apologize. I'm doing my best here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these out the mold. These are the Terry's Chocolate Orange ones. I have a few more flavors to share, and I'm going to go ahead and fill these up and decorate them. So I felt Nutella would pair quite well with the chocolate orange. I am the kind of person that would just eat this straight out the jar. So this for me is not disgusting, but you might be like, no, that's not the one. But I decided to go with it. So yeah, you can try it if it's something that you're into. And then I also added mini marshmallows because I wanted to have those kind of float up to the top as these cracked. And 10 out of 10 gross factor, 10 out of 10 delicious factor. It's a winner in my book. The Terry's Chocolate Orange paired with the Nutella, paired with the marshmallows. I'm here for it. I've got time for it. And you can always omit the Nutella, or you could use a different type of chocolate. I guess that's what this video is all about, just showing you the different combinations and a few different ways that you can decorate these. So for the next flavor combination, I decided to use these Lindt chocolate. These are salted caramel, and I just broke them up into small pieces and melted them in small increments. This did turn out really runny, so I was concerned that it wasn't going to coat the mold enough to make a thick enough chocolate ball. So what I did is I poured everything in, tipped it out, let it harden a little bit, and then did the process again. So it was kind of like a double thickness, and that worked perfectly for me. You can see how easy it was to tip everything out, and then I just used a spatula to scrape away the excess from the top of the mold. So now for some more fillings, I decided to try a fudge chocolate bar chopped into small pieces and then put that inside. This, I think, was a really fun addition, but unfortunately when I melted the chocolate ball, you couldn't really tell that it was there. So visually, it doesn't really add too much, but it adds something flavor-wise, and it's kind of fun to add that in. And I think that's pretty much what I learned from doing this whole process. It's really fun to just try and experiment. I think you could also try crushed up candy canes. I think that would be really fun. They would melt in the warm water and add a little bit of peppermint. I did also get some peppermint essence, which I used for the next flavor, where I used a really dark chocolate and then add some peppermint to it. And I just think you can't go wrong. Just see what combinations of chocolate and additives in terms of like marshmallows or toppers or crushed up candy cane, whatever it is that means hot chocolate Christmas fun to you, give that a try. And then just create these little ball shapes, seal them up. I will show you the other way how to seal them in just a moment. And then decorate the outside of them however you like. They look really great left plain, but you can go ahead and get the chocolate like I did with the white chocolate one at the start and create that little zigzag, or you can grab some cocoa powder and a sieve. I just ran this under some water so it would be kind of wet and sticky, and then added some chocolate powder on the top, and I think that one turned out really great as well. I think that looks really fun, and it just adds even more chocolate to this hot chocolate bomb. So for the last one, I went back to the recipe that I used in my original video, which was some really intense chocolate. I used 90% cocoa dark chocolate, and then I'm going to go ahead and decorate them in a few different ways and show you the alternative way to seal these up if you don't want to use a piping bag. So I have this pan here that I've heated up on my stove. You could heat it up in the oven, and then I'm just using it to melt the edges of the chocolate ball and then press them together. Depending on how much of the chocolate you melt as you kind of press this down, it does distort the circular shape, but if the piping is putting you off and you don't want to have to use a piping bag, you can pick those up really inexpensively. But if you don't want to have to do that, then this is just another way that you can seal them up. And there you have it. This is what they looked like all finished. I was so pleased with how these turned out. I think they look really fun, and now is the time you have been waiting for. I'm going to drop them in some cups and add some warm milk. I just heat the milk up on the stove. You could use a microwave, and then pour it into a mug with the chocolate ball inside and just let it melt and kind of bloom out with the marshmallows. I think my only regret for these is that I could maybe have got a slightly larger mold. Then I would have been able to add even more marshmallows inside. But overall, I think they turned out really great. And it is so fun to just watch them crack. You're kind of pouring the milk on, waiting for it, that kind of anticipation of when it's going to crack. If it doesn't crack right away, you can at least leave it for a second and it will eventually, and the marshmallows will kind of float up to the top. So that's the all white one here. Then we have my slightly disastrous snowflake. I have a couple more of these over on TikTok as well. If you are on TikTok, you can follow me there. It is at crafty_not_shifty. And you can also find me on pretty much all the social medias as Crafty Not Shifty. So you can see how fun that marshmallow topper turned out. I love that one, the little smiley face. Again, I just wish I'd added some cocoa powder to the inside of those white chocolate ones to improve the flavour. So I'll show you just a couple more of these now using my little milk container to crack this chocolate bomb. It looks so cute. Again, I just used all white marshmallows in this one. And then here I decided to use more of like a sundae. I decided to add whipped cream to this one, and you will have seen, not this exact one, I think it was a different one that I took for the actual thumbnail, but it's very similar to this. I think I just knocked the camera. But it's so fun to see it crack and melt, and it looks really fun in this sundae jar as well. So then you want to go ahead and add some whipped cream, and of course, more is more. So I decided to add some marshmallows to the top of the whipped cream and also a little candy cane because it's really cute. I also added a metal straw. You want to be careful it doesn't get too hot, but this wasn't too hot. The milk was just warm enough to be able to crack the chocolate ball. So then for the very last one, I decided to do more is more is more is more. So here I'm pouring the milk into my little clear teapot with a chocolate ball inside, and I'm letting that crack and melt. It's so fun to see those marshmallows rise up to the top. So I gave that a mix. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab a mug. This is one of my favorites. One of my friends bought this mug for me. And then I'm just going to pour that over the top. So we've got a chocolate bomb inside of a chocolate bomb. So that is it for today's video. I hope you got some more inspiration on different recipes that you could use for these hot chocolate balls, and also some ideas for decoration. If you haven't seen the original video, I'll have that linked below, as well as the supplies that I've used. And if you haven't subscribed and you enjoyed this video, you can go ahead and do so and click the bell to be notified when I post a new video. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye for now.